Welcome to the GrayHawk DJC podcast. GrayHawk DJC is a full-service digital marketing agency that specializes in helping small businesses increase their presence on the internet. In this podcast, we talk with Andrew Kelton, owner of the Sharp Agent Realty Group, to discuss the real estate market in Dallas-Fort Worth and his story on how he started his company. If you like this video, please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. We hope you enjoy the podcast. Mr. Kelton.
What's going on, Dave?
How's it going?
Good to see you.
Welcome to the initial first podcast, the GrayHawk DJC podcast.
What an honor. So honored to be here.
I know we're going to look back on this day and laugh at ourselves, I think. But thank you
Hopefully
for doing
not
this.
too much, yeah.
Yeah. So, how you been? I mean...
Been good, yeah. Surviving
Yeah.
COVID and snowpocalypse, we had in Texas here. That was crazy.
Yeah. Did you feel anything or get hit with anything or...
No, we kept our power and kept our water, so we were lucky.
So no blackouts at all? Nothing?
Not for us.
Man.
Yeah, we got out unscathed. We did have some of my wife's friends came and stayed with us because they lost power and water.
Okay.
So we housed some people for.
Thanks for not reaching out to the rest of us. I mean,
yeah. What about you, man? Did you?
We had rolling blackouts. Our internet went out. That was it. So every hour or so we could recharge.
Yeah.
But it was tough at night because we had no entertainment. We just kind of sat there,
Right.
like looking at each other. So
And it's like, what do you do without
yeah,
all these tech toys that we're so used to?
I know.
Yeah.
I know. But our friends had like real issues. They were like, some of the guys that we play poker with, they were saying that they had to like be refugees and go to people's houses because they had no heat
Yeah.
for days.
Yeah.
I mean,
Water
so-
for a friend of mine in Houston was out of water for 8 days,
What?
and pipes burst and flooded, and I mean he was suffering.
So he's still feeling the effects of this.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're still working on the plumbing, and they set it up so that, like, I have some friends that are plumbers.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, we just try to get a toilet, a shower, and patch everybody like that, as many people as they can before they start knocking out
Right.
the full replums and the stuff that they had to do,
Oh my gosh.
so they can get as many people to a point where they're sustainable to be able to at least use the bathroom and take a shower,
Right.
and then get everybody set up that way, and then start tackling the big jobs.
Did he have kids or anything? I mean,
He's got an 8-year-old, but I think the kid went and stayed with his mom's parents or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man. Well, at least you're safe. So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I was
Still here.
shocked at some of the guys and what they went through. So.
Yeah. We got super lucky. So grateful for that.
So you're gonna come back? Can we see you regularly again, or how's
At
this
the
look?
poker
Yeah.
games? Yeah, I think
mean,
so.
For those of you who don't know, we know Andrew from poker. Well, I know Andrew from poker.
That's right.
It's been what, 5 years now? 3
Something
years?
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's been about 5.
But you're MIA, dude. I mean,
Yeah. I kind of fell off the radar there for a little bit. Started doing other things.
taking over the world.
Yeah, work. I got super into hunting this year.
Uh-huh.
So that took me away. You guys play Friday nights, and I'm going out almost every Saturday morning, 4 or 5 a.m., heading out to the pond, trying to get on birds.
I mean, the way
and
you
other
play,
animals.
you were hunting us on
Yeah.
Friday nights, right? So I guess.
That's right. I see you still remember.
Oh my gosh.
Just kidding.
All right. Yeah. Well, you're a realtor, right?
Yeah.
And it's a business podcast. So tell us how you got started. What led you into it. The floor is yours. I mean,
Go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
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 Man, so I was out in California. That's where I'm from.
okay.
Born and raised in Los Angeles. Loved it out there. I went straight from high school out up into the mountains and became a snowboarder full time. That was my gig. I would work construction, so I was working on houses, painting, laying floors, tile, you name it.
So the
I kinda
traditional
did it.
thing that most kids do, right? Right.
Yeah. Well, I had an uncle out there that did construction.
Okay.
A couple of them, but one in particular that I could go work with in the summers, and I would do that, and then I would go up in the winters. I'd go up to the mountains and do the snowboarding thing.
Right.
So I did that for a number of years. So I was kind of learning more and more about houses and the labor side of things,
Okay.
renovations and repairs and things. So I learned a little bit of everything. And then,
Did you know you were always going to do this?
no, not really.
You just did it.
I just fell
Yeah.
into it, honestly. So my uncle that was living out here, a different uncle, he called me up for my birthday in August and said, "Hey, happy birthday. What are you doing with your life?" And I was like, "Man, I've just been bouncing up and down the mountain. I don't really know what direction I'm going in. I'm just trying to figure it out still."
Okay.
And I had done some schooling in college, but I never finished. Just wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And
All right.
he said, "Well, you have experience in construction. Why don't you come out here and I'm flipping houses, and you can come work with me and swing a hammer."
Right.
So I did that, packed up my car, I bought a dog, and I drove out to Texas from California. Not sure how long I was going to stay. It was kind of like, hey, I'll come work on this one house that he was working on. Maybe I'll end up staying longer. I don't know.
So no friends, nothing, just the family.
Yeah, just family. I had a
Okay.
couple cousins out here. My dad grew up, or was born and grew up out here in San Angelo. So I did have family out here, and I would come out here every year growing up around the holidays and spend time with them. So I was familiar with the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Right.
So I kind of knew that I liked Texas, but an extended stay, I wasn't sure if I was going to stay here or not. Really, I didn't think I would, but I ended up staying here, and that was 10 years ago now. So I worked on houses with him for a couple years, and then I tried to start a couple different businesses, attic insulation, door knocking, trying to get business, drum up business so I could insulate people's attics.
Oh my God.
I did that for about a year and a half.
So complete cold calls, right? Just
Yeah.
literally knocking on. So how's that? Like any bad experiences? Like
Yeah,
tell some
so-
stories, man. I mean,
Yeah, so I worked for this guy, and he was doing the same thing. He had a company that did energy efficiency upgrades to homes. And, it was basically the government was allocating money to Encore so that they could pay independent contractors to go out and retrofit homes to make them more energy efficient. And then, that money was funneling through Encore and then paying these subcontractors, to save energy, because it was cheaper to do that than it was to go out and build new power plants and create more energy.
right.
So I was working for this guy, and we were busy, and I could tell he was doing really well with it. And I thought, man, if I could just buy an insulation machine, the kit that measures how much air is passing through the home. It's like this door you hook up to the front door, sucks out, big fan sucks the air through the house, and it tells you how much leakage you have, like gaps around the windows, energy loss basically. So I went out and, borrowed money from friends and family, kind of went out and did a little like seed round of like raising money to go start this business. And, so I got in, and all in, I think I was like 10 or 15 grand in when I bought all the equipment. I had to go get licensed and all this stuff.
And that's not just your money; it's other people's money too. Right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So you're on the hook for them too.
Right.
Right.
Basically, like, family entrusted me to like, hey, good luck. I think this is going to work out.
Okay.
And, based on my experience with this other guy and seeing other people do it as well, not just him.
Right.
Seeing them, be really successful.
Was the convincing hard for you, or did they support you from the start?
No, I think like I had it all figured out, how it was going to work. And, I really researched it before I got started.
Okay.
So one thing that I couldn't research, though, was when I went to the orientation with Encore that year. And, I'm 3 months in. I'd already bought the equipment, got the licensing. I think the licensing was $1,800 by itself. When I got to the orientation, they said that they were going to make a change that year, and that you had to have been in business for 2 years to participate in the
No
program.
warning.
now.
No warnings, or just,
No warnings,
You
right.
just get there. Okay.
So that was a huge shock, and I had to figure out a way to get in
Right.
and still do this, because I was like on the hook. Like I had all these other people, invested in me, myself, everything I had was invested in this.
Right.
And so what I did was I figured out that I could work through another company that was already in the program, and that had been in business for at least 2 years.
All right.
So I went to Encore's website, and I found a list of all the contractors that were participating from the previous year. And it was a list of, I think it was about 85 or 100 companies. They're all over DFW, all these companies doing it. And I start banging on the phones, calling one after another. And I think I ended up calling 61, 62 companies.
Man. Okay.
Until I finally got one to say, hey, you know what? You can practice under me and I'll take a percentage of everything you do. But that was my only way in.
Did they vet you?
Yeah, I mean, I sat down with them, and first I talked to them on the phone, and it took a lot of calls just to even get that face-to-face with one of these companies. And then, I told them, I convinced them that, hey, you're going to make more money, and as long as you can trust that I'm not going to mess this up and hurt you in the program and, hurt your chances of doing work through this program. So once I convinced them of that, they brought me in, and I was able to actually do it and go out and get clients and market my company and go do business, doing attic insulation and other energy efficiency upgrades. And then I just gave a cut to that company.
So we know that at the end of the day, it's all about sales, right? So when you say you went and got clients, like, what'd you do? Just more phone calls?
Oh, man. I can remember one day in the middle of summer that I was driving around HEB, Hearst, Euless, Bedford, and I had 1,000 door hangers in a box that I'd bought and designed. And I was just going out and knocking on people's doors and putting door hangers out and trying to sell, because really it was no cost to the homeowner. And so a lot of people thought it was a gimmick. They thought you're trying to take advantage of them. Hey, I got this free thing I'm going to give you. And they're like, what? Yeah, right.
Plus you're just knocking on their door. Right?
Yeah, some stranger, some kid in a polo with a little logo on it and everything that I got. And it was brutal. I had 95 to 98% of people were like, kick rocks, get out of here.
Right.
But I cut my teeth doing that, and I got used to rejection and realizing, like, look, you just have to keep pushing in order to, I'd get 100 no's, and then I'd get one yes. And I could make a little bit of money and pay the bills for the month. I had 2 guys working with me, so I could pay them.
Oh my God. So you had employees, are you telling me?
Yeah, well, they were like subcontractors.
Okay.
And I think they were doing other stuff too. But there was a point in time where, it was like 4 or 5 days a week. We had work, and we were going out and doing attic insulation all over DFW. It was a learning experience for me for sure. And that was like the first time I really built something from nothing.
Right. How close did you come to like saying this is all, I don't want to do this anymore?
Oh man, bunch of times. Yeah, a bunch of times.
What kept you going then? Just because you needed food on the table, or?
Yeah, I think I had I've always had like a chip on my shoulder and wanting to prove that, I could do something on my own.
No.
And at the time when I was running that business, I was engaged.
Okay.
And my wife, I had a lot to lose, I guess. Like, I needed to find some way to do something to, stop being an employee and building somebody else's business.
You sound like an immigrant story from California.
Okay.
Right? I mean, this is the typical, I got to put food on the table. There's no second chances.
Right.
I can't go back to where I came from. It's either do or die, right? So.
Yeah, it was definitely that kind of burn the boats mentality. Like, look, there's no going back.
Right.
I didn't want to go back to swinging a hammer every day. I was willing to work harder building something for myself, even if it didn't pan out. There's something to be said about when you're working and that it's for you,
right,
and that you get to put your name on it,
right,
and build it up, and it's something that you can hang your hat on,
right,
as opposed to going to work for somebody else. Like, I've always worked hard my whole life, long hours, and always willing to put in work, but I definitely was working harder when it was for my own success. Right?
Do you have any door knocking stories that are weird or kind of, get the spidey senses tingling for you?
Not really. The worst thing is when you knock on the door and the dogs are going crazy and you got like 5, 6 dogs in the house and they're just barking. You're standing there with your little clipboard and you already know that homeowner when they get to the door,
Right.
they're going to be pissed because it's like,
Right.
you woke me up, all my dogs are barking. And it's like, yeah, that happened a few times where
Nothing creepy. Nobody showing up in their underwear.
no, I had people just tell me to, piss off, like get out of here, cuss at me, whatever.
Any threats?
What's that?
Guns, get off my lawn, all that stuff.
No.
Nothing.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. I'm shocked that you went like so hard just out of the blue. Because I know when we start with GrayHawk, our biggest problem is getting customers as well. So you make those phone calls, and like you said, 99% of the time they're just like, "Who the hell are you?
Right.
Stop calling me." Literal hang-ups.
Yeah.
But there doesn't seem to be any other way to do that, except to do that. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, as I've gotten more businesses and started a couple different businesses and learned more, the ideal thing is to have clients calling you, right?
right.
You can get people hitting you up and say, "Hey, I want to do the thing that you can help me with." That's where it's at.
Right.
That eliminates. You don't have to do the cold calling as much, but I still do.
You still do?
Yeah, I still do with real estate.
What percentage you think you're doing that right now?
I probably make, 50 to 100 calls a week. Wow. And that's low. I have an ISA, someone that makes calls for me too. And yeah, I think it's just part of, you've got to keep your pipeline full.
Right.
That's a big part of the business. If you don't have that, then you really have nothing. There's nothing there.
Right. So you're doing the door knocking, and then what happens next for you? How do you get on this road to where you
To
ended
real
up?
estate, yeah. Well, so, the company, the attic insulation and energy efficiency company, it just wasn't panning out the way that I had hoped.
Okay.
I got all these dreams of whatever,
World
driving
domination. Yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking, but taking over the world, blowing attic insulation, one house at a time, one attic at a time.
I mean, you never know.
Yeah, you never know. So a year into it, maybe a year and a couple months into it, I realized that, like, hey, I didn't want to be struggling to convince people to let me do this stuff anymore. There had to be an easier way.
Right.
And so my fiance at the time, she kind of slapped some sense into me, and she's like, you've been thinking about getting your real estate license for years. Why don't you just do it? You finally, maybe this is an opportunity for you to do that and pursue something else. And so,
A good woman.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, right.
yeah.
And so I did. I jumped into online classes. I knocked them out in about a month and a half.
Okay.
It's pretty easy, to get your real estate license, and most people probably know that.
Okay.
I think it should be a little harder.
So you're saying your fellow realtors aren't? Anybody can do this, right? So-
Look, anybody can get licensed to sell real estate. I think it's like a trade, right? Like you can go to trade school and be an air conditioning technician, and that's probably even harder schooling than it is to get your
Right.
license.
Because you're actually physically doing something, building something, right? Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
right. But the attrition rate in real estate is really high, and a lot of people get in and then they get out within the first couple years. I think it's 8 out of 10 are out of the business in the first 5 years.
Oh wow.
So it's this constant revolving door of new agents coming in, thinking it's going to be one way, it's going to be easy, and then realizing that you actually still have to work pretty hard.
So what do you say to people that say, why do we even need an agent in the first place? Why can't people just transact by themselves and not pay all these fees?
Yeah.
I mean, have you heard that? Because I've been.
Oh,
hearing-
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
for
what's
sure.
how do you reply to that? I guess.
Well, I think that real estate transactions are complex and more complex than most people would think if they haven't done it before.
Okay.
Yeah, you have a buyer and a seller, and you both want the same things, but there's a lot of moving pieces. There's a lot of different parties involved. You've got title companies, you've got lenders, insurance, home warranty, agents on both sides. The agents have brokers typically if they're not one themselves. So all in all, you're looking at I don't know, 7, 10, sometimes more people involved.
Right.
Your contract is going to have 9, 10 pages of different things that you may understand, but there's loopholes and things that could really mess people up and end up costing people a lot of money if they have a misstep or if they check one box the wrong way.
Right.
So I think that just understanding that process and being an expert in guiding people through every phase of the contract, from shopping for homes or listing a home to bringing in buyers on a listing or finding the right property and not spending more time than necessary getting to those properties that you're looking for.
Right.
There's definitely expertise that comes into play. I'm a lot different than I was when I first started out.
Right.
And I think most agents that are still in the business after a few years would say the same thing, that you pick up things, and I'm still learning stuff as I sell, but I think protection for my clients is like the number one thing in having the experience and seeing different mistakes happen on one side or the other, buyers or sellers, and learning from those, and really being able to say, I've seen so many different things happen where people have gotten into trouble.
Right.
And learning from those things and then becoming more of an expert
I see.
in that process.
So
Yeah.
when you talk to people, what would you tell people to look out for in an agent? Like if they know what they're doing or not, or if there's any cues there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Communication is a big one. A lot of times when I get clients that have already worked with another agent, they say that they couldn't get a hold of them. And they, it'd be hours or days before their agent would call them back. And in the market we're in now, it could be hours before a home sells.
Right.
Because sales are happening very fast. It's very competitive for buyers. So communication is definitely toward the top.
I see. All right.
Expertise, guiding them and putting them in the right direction. And, for me, it's like when I have a buyer, I expect to put them in front of the right home within 5 to 10 properties. Like if we're looking at more than 10 houses, then I'm not doing a good job, right? Because if you really tell me, we're communicating the right way, and you tell me what it is that you want in a home,
Right.
within 10 houses, I should be able to put you into the house that you want.
And that's if the client's being honest and forthright about what
Right.
they really want, right?
For sure.
So you might have to,
Yeah,
parse through that sometimes, right?
definitely.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, you have people tell you, hey, this is what I want, and then you see 5 houses and they say, you know what, I don't want to pull anymore.
Oh my God, I'm not that guy. I think
Yeah.
we looked at like 15 homes, so
That's not too bad.
it's not too bad. Okay.
Nah, it's not too
All
bad.
right. All right. So communication, they should have a house for you, something reasonable within the first 5 homes, right? Okay.
You should be looking at properties that, time is money. So I set that precedent early that, look, like, I want to save you time, and, there's no reason why we should be looking at properties if they're not hitting pretty much everything that you want.
Right.
So, I try to avoid just spraying and praying. Like, hey, let's go look at 25 properties, and maybe one of these will work. It's like, do you have time to do that?
Are there realtors that do that to people? You think?
I think so. Yeah, I
Okay.
think a lot of new agents will go out and just show whatever the client wants to see.
Okay.
Because they're just trying to get that sale, and they're very eager. And I was the same way. I'd go out and show 20, 25 properties, and
Right.
we're looking at stuff that I should have known this isn't going to work for them. But I was kind of green, and you're just so eager to get that first sale or the first couple sales that you're just going out and you're like,
So that means
forget it.
before that meetup, you're doing all this background work, right? I mean,
like research on
all that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, definitely.
Man. All right. So what kind of clients do you like then?
Man, I like everybody.
What should the people, I guess, prepare for, be ready for, I guess, so they could be the best clients, I guess, or is it just whatever they want because it's their dream home and
Yeah, it is. It's definitely whatever the client wants. It's not about me.
Okay.
I think I'm good at being a chameleon and getting along with every type of client that comes my way.
right?
I've not had to, really fire clients much in the past.
Okay.
There's been one or two where it's just like, okay, look, it's not working out the way maybe we thought it would, and maybe it's better that, you get better suited to work with someone else.
Okay.
And, it's all respectable and professional, but, I pride myself on just being able to adapt to working with every type of person and, really figure out what it is that they want.
Any oddball stories you got? Stuff that happened on the meeting people and showing them houses, anything?
Oh, man. I'll have to come back to that. I'll think about it.
All right.
Yeah.
So, you decide to become a realtor. What's your next step after that? Like, how, on your journey, what'd you do after that? Did you just dive right in? Did you have to call places to get hired to? Or
Yeah, so kind of like what I did when I had to call those energy companies to try and get in with them.
Yep.
I started, went on LinkedIn, Indeed. I started calling a bunch of real estate companies to try and find a company that would actually pay me, which is very hard to find in real estate because it's commission-based.
Okay.
So I found a company that was willing to put me on a small salary.
So most realtors don't have this.
Most people, getting into real estate, you're going in, it's commission-based. So
Okay.
to find a company that was willing to put me on a very small salary to start out, but enough to where I could put gas in my car,
Right.
and eat at Taco Bell or whatever,
Right.
Now,
are you an employee or are you considered like an independent contractor? Can you write these expenses off? And
Yeah, I think I was still an independent contractor at that point.
Okay.
It was like, hey, I'm gonna help out and do things that their company needed, but I was still kind of deciding what I was going to be doing. I just had to make sure that I was staying busy and helping them. So they were great. I worked with them for 8 months. So I stayed on that team for 8 months. After 3 months, I went full commission.
Okay.
And that was another big step. It was kind of scary.
What was the benefit to that though?
Well, you have the opportunity to make more money.
Okay.
But then you have the risk of making no money.
Right.
So it was one of those moments of okay, I'm taking a risk. And can I do this, right?
Right.
Can I perform the way that these other people are doing it, that I've seen them do it?
Right.
And I'm like, I think I can. So let's go for it.
That simple, huh?
Yeah.
I mean,
it was a hard decision for sure. It's like, okay, well, I have some security, but I wasn't making a killing.
Right.
I was just getting by. And I'd done that enough in my life.
Does the company help you get clients, like a role, or do you have to get them yourself?
So for me, I went straight out into trying to convert for sale by owners, people that were trying to sell their houses on their own.
Okay.
I was getting a few leads from them, but not a ton.
So how do you find these people?
I would go on, Zillow, realtor.com.
Okay.
And these people are trying to sell their property on their own.
Okay.
And so within, I want to say 2 weeks,
Okay.
I went on 30 appointments. I went to all these different for sale by owners, and trying to convince them that they should let me sell their house.
Right.
Even though I'd never done that before.
Right.
Until eventually I got this guy to agree to it. But the way I convinced him to let me do it, I said, look, I can sell your property in 3 weeks.
It's like name that tune, huh?
Yeah. And, that was a mistake, in hindsight. It didn't work out.
Okay.
So I told him I could sell his property in 3 weeks.
Okay.
And he goes, all right, you know what? I'll give you the listing. So I'm pumped, right? I'm in the office, I get off the phone, I'm screaming, I'm jumping up and down. I'm so excited, right? My first listing.
Right.
This is a $500,000 house in Plano.
Right.
In a Kings Ridge subdivision. And so, I'm on cloud nine. I invested about $1,000 in, I built a website for it. I got, professional staging, photos. I knew I had 3 weeks and I was on the clock.
So you pay for this, but the company doesn't help you with any of this?
No. This is all me out of my own pocket. So, I took $1,000, maybe a little bit more, invested in doing all these things. I even fixed a broken window in the house before we did the photos, for the owner.
Right.
Again, I'm just trying to go above and beyond and get this done.
Okay. You're not still fixing broken windows, right?
No.
Okay. All right.
No.
Cool. All right.
Yeah. So after 3 weeks, we get about 19 days in, right? And I got 2 days left. And, open houses every weekend, Saturday, Sunday, back-to-back days. We're getting showings, a lot of people coming through, but it's not sold yet. And so I call the owner, and I'm talking to him, and I say, we got 2 days left. You got to give me an extension. Right. Give me another week. I know I can sell this thing.
All right.
He says, nope, I'm a man of my word. You got 2 more days.
Okay.
Well, it didn't end up selling. And so he terminates, listing. Right. I lose it. A week later, it sells. He goes back to for sale by owner. A week later, he sells it. Who knows? Maybe,
Is it the work that you put in that kind of helped that?
Probably. I mean, I'm sure, I gave it a lot of exposure and, had a lot of eyeballs on it. But he ends up selling it a week later. And so it's one of those times where it was a moment of, defeat that I failed at this thing.
Right.
It's hard to separate yourself from that failure and say, you got to go back out and try and do it again.
Right. So in this time period, were you trying to get other clients, or were you just focused on this one house?
I think I was pretty much all in. I might have been working with a buyer at the time. I think I might have had one buyer client as well.
Okay.
But I was pretty focused on getting this one sold.
Right.
And when it didn't happen and I lost it, I think I spent, maybe a week of kind of licking my wounds and just kind of going down into the depths of, is this really, can I do this?
Right.
I wasn't sure. And
so with the experience you have now, what do you think kept you from selling that house? Was it the time period that's just not really reasonable?
Yeah,
Or did you make any mistakes, you think? Or
I don't think I made any mistakes other than signing a 21-day agreement.
Okay.
I mean, that's it takes a little bit of time.
What's the normal turnaround for you nowadays?
Well, my average days on market in my career has been about 27, 28 days.
Okay.
And so that's, I think that's a good time to estimate for me. I would never do less than 60 days now.
Okay.
Spider webs on me.
Wow. Got this wonderful studio here. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was the big thing is I just would never sign such a short listing agreement with someone ever again. But to get my foot in the door, I was willing to do whatever it took to get my first client.
So that's your first failure. You haven't sold yet.
Yeah.
So what's your first sale? How'd that happen?
Man. Okay.
You got so many you don't remember, right?
Well, no, I'm just trying to think back. So I was on that team, and I closed 3 deals with them.
Okay.
But those leads really were given to me.
So you don't count that?
I don't really count that.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. I went out on my own after 8 months of being, on that team, and I finally took the leap to just go out completely solo on my own.
And this is without ever making what you consider your own sale. You just went out there.
Well, I converted that listing.
Okay.
While I was on that team.
Okay.
And so I knew I could convert clients.
Okay.
And that was, I don't know, months before I decided to go out on my own. I ended up doing a couple more with them. So I felt like I could do what I needed to do on my own.
Right.
I'd done a handful of deals, and I knew I was ready.
Right.
So yeah, I jumped out. I want to say, yeah, man, it's 5 years ago. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I go out on my own, and I think it'd been 3 months since I sold a house.
Okay.
I'd been on a little dry spell. But I go out on my own, and that first month I had 4 deals pending.
Okay.
And so the floodgates opened. I got connected with a lender, and we started passing clients back and forth. So I hit the ground running that very first month when I left that team. I had 4 deals pending, which is, really good.
How'd they feel when you told them you're leaving? Did they care, or the
Yeah,
fact that
I
you
think
had
there
4
was-
deals pending?
No,
Yeah.
I think it was unexpected.
Okay.
But it had been brewing with me for a little while that I knew I wanted to go out and do my thing. I mean, I went, a couple months without selling anything, and I was leaning on them for support, and maybe I was expecting too much from them.
Okay.
But I think that deciding that I needed to just go do it all on my own
Right.
forced me to grow and forced me to really push harder than I'd ever pushed. So when I went out on my own and there was no one else that I could call or count on, it was just me. It pretty much forced me to to grow and to make it happen.
How are you paying for expenses in these 3 months that you're not making any sales? Like, what are you living on?
I mean, I'm just draining, my savings and, hitting the
Wow.
credit cards and charging it up.
Yep.
Getting in more debt and trying to finance, I was purchasing leads from different services. And I remember saying, okay, like I've got X amount of credit that I can exploit, right? And I'm halfway there.
Right.
So I've got another, $4K or whatever it was that I could leverage of credit. And then it's like, well, obviously that's risky. You don't want to be so leveraged that, but what do you do?
Yeah.
So, I was using credit cards to pay the bills and to generate leads. It's all I could do. It was either that or stop.
How far down that, rabbit hole were you before you made your first commission?
Yeah, I was pretty much maxed out. Like,
wow.
I was paycheck to paycheck towards the end of my limit of, credit, like maxed out. I probably opened up another credit card, in that phase to help out and try to kick the can further down the road and get a little further. But ultimately it paid off.
What's your fiance saying this whole time?
Yeah, so we got married, and a few months after that is when I went out on my own.
Okay.
And so so she's not from here. She's from Costa Rica.
Right.
You knew this.
Yep.
She moved here. We got married. So she's like 3 months into being in Texas. She can't work yet. She's still waiting on her work visa to get approved.
Right.
So I'm like the only one that can even work. And, I'm just trying to figure it out as I go.
So how long is this before you joined the poker game and we met you for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, this was right around the same time. Yeah, like right around the
Seriously?
same time. Yeah, because, I mean, she got granted a work visa, and then we met shortly after that.
Okay.
I remember that.
Right.
And so, but she always had my back. I mean, from day one, she was like, you can do this. Like, on your own. I believe in you. She's definitely got that tough love when I need it and pushes me to be better, even though in the moment sometimes I feel like, give me a break. But she...
Well, the reason I'm asking is because when you talk to entrepreneurs, one of the biggest walls that they got to get over is the people that care about them the most are usually the detractors the most of the time, right? Their parents, their wives, or family members are like, we don't want you to suffer. Stop taking this risk with your life. It's not a good idea.
Just go get a normal job.
Right. And then they stop, right? And that's one of the biggest detriments of continuing their journey, right? So, but you seem to, that's pretty cool. I mean,
I think I got lucky with her. She knew, like, when I had that business that, really wasn't taking off with the energy efficiency, she was the one that kind of snapped it into me, on that final straw that I was like, I probably would have kept going a little longer.
Right.
And she was like, stop doing it. Like, let's try something else and see, because I think she just saw potential in me and knew that it's like with businesses, when you start businesses, one of the hardest things to do is like give up on something that you invested all your time and money into.
Right.
At that point I was like over a year into building and branding a business that was not really going anywhere for me. But I always had, you kind of drink your own Kool-Aid and you think like, well, at some point this is just going to blow up.
Right.
And maybe it would have, maybe it wouldn't have. But at that point, it was the right move. Like, it was the best move that I could have made to get into real estate.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you make your first sale. When did things start like happening for you?
Well, that first year, the first year, I did pretty good. I ended up, I think, selling 13 homes my first year.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
And
was the market good at the time, or was it downtime?
Yeah, luckily, like when I got in 2015, the market's been good ever since then. So, I can lean on that a little bit and say that, luckily I'm in one of the best markets in the country, and one of the best times. But you still got to put in the work, right? Like, you can still be in the best market in the best state, at the best time, and you're still going to have 8 out of 10 people failing at it. So, but yeah, I was working, and she can attest to this, my wife, that, I was taking calls at 10, 11 o'clock at night in bed. I'd be on my computer running comps for
Who's calling
my
you
clients.
at 10 at night?
Well, so
Like-
when you allow clients to do that, they're going to continue to do it.
Okay.
And so it took me a little while to figure out how to, I guess, train my clients how to interact with me.
Were you literally saying you can call me anytime?
Yeah, I was
And
like, look, I'll answer the phone 24/7.
And they took advantage of that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I would do that. Even if I was desperate, I'm like, it's 10 o'clock. You can't.
Yeah.
On weekends too, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
But I allowed that to happen, and it's not their fault. Like, it's not the client's fault that I say, hey, you can call me at 11 o'clock, and then they do it.
Right.
Well, yeah, if I told you could do it, then you're gonna do it.
Right.
So, but after a few instances of it getting in the way of me, out to dinner on my anniversary or whatever it was, and like I'm like looking at my phone or getting interrupted by clients, like that gets old fast.
Right.
So I had to figure out how to set boundaries with my people, and now I think I have a much more balanced approach and
Okay.
boundaries set.
So ever since that first year, it's just hasn't stopped, right? You just going. It's been good.
Yeah,
I mean, wow.
yeah, it's been pretty good. So I've increased my sales every year and grown every year. So this last year in 2020 was a different year for me, especially with my health. At the end of 2019, I ended up having to get a couple surgeries.
Okay.
From the end of 2019 into 2020. So I was basically out of commission for about 6 months.
Okay.
When COVID hit, like April, where everybody got shut down, I'd already been in bed basically for like 4 months.
Right.
So I was already like quarantined, and it was kind of like everybody got put into the same boat as me
Right.
at that point. Like I felt, I'd spent, 4 months not really being able to work.
Okay.
And then that trailed into about June.
Okay.
So I had about 6 months of 2020 where, I really didn't work.
And right before you got sick, you started your own another company, right?
Oh yeah, I
Or
switched.
You switched again.
I
right?
switched brokerages. Yeah, it was crazy timing. Like I switched companies for the first time in my career, and like a week after doing that, I'm in the hospital, and like I didn't know what was going on, and it ended up being really 6 months that for me to come out of it and get to a decent health level where I could get out and sell real estate.
How you
again.
feeling right now?
Pretty good.
So no pain, no issues anymore? Or?
Yeah, a little bit here and there.
Okay.
So I'm still dealing with it. I ended up getting diagnosed with Crohn's.
Okay. I'm not familiar with it, so
It's like it's a inflammatory autoimmune
I see.
disease. So I just have inflammation in my digestive tract. I didn't find out actually until August of 2020.
Okay.
And so yeah, I've just been kind of navigating that. And
Is that going to affect you more with COVID out there, or are you
I don't think
high
so.
risk or anything?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just asking, you ready to run? Play ball?
Yeah.
You sure?
What do you want to?
With all that pain?
You go hit some basketball? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. We've been talking about this forever, and
Yeah.
not that we're great or anything, but we need more players. And
Yeah. No, I'm down for sure.
All right. I'm not going to take it easy on you.
No, I'm still exercising, and that's something that has really helped me.
Okay.
Getting back in the gym and hitting the weights and doing all that. So, yeah, like it changed my life in a way that it just kind of blindsided me, and it was unexpected. But just like any other challenge that I've gone through, it's like, okay, how do I adapt to this?
Okay.
And be better and be stronger, and so I've cleaned up my diet completely. I'm eating like really healthy.
So what's
all
the
time.
diet like now?
A lot of probiotics.
Okay.
A lot of stuff for gut health.
Okay.
Right. Turmeric.
Right.
This is good for inflammation.
All right.
So I'm eating turmeric every single day.
Okay.
Yeah, just really clean, no processed foods for the most part. Kind of eliminated all fast food.
Is that hard?
It is at times.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I know during our poker games late at night, everybody get a pizza,
Yeah.
bring in donuts.
Yeah, it's tough.
we weren't the best. We weren't eating the best.
Influences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, wow. So how's business then?
Son of
Is
my
it
eyes.
is it still? Are you good with it? Is that what you want to keep doing?
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself like 20 years from now? Or
Man, that's way out there.
we're getting deep, huh?
Yeah, honestly,
Yeah.
20 years, I don't know if I even
How about 5 years?
really think about that. Yeah, 5 years I'll probably still be in the real estate game.
Because you're set now. Like you get regular clients, you can make sales, you're providing for yourself obviously and your family.
Yeah.
Any anticipation to grow, do new things? Is it going to be in real estate? Or are you thinking of going other places? Or
Yeah, I think I'm definitely still focused on growth
okay,
in real estate. I'm in this, for the long haul right now. There's other things that I want to do in life, and real estate isn't everything. I think if that's all you're gonna do, then that's not it's not for me.
right,
But yeah, I'm gonna continue to do this, and I feel like if I'm not growing, then I'm just going backwards. Like staying the same, you're getting passed up.
right.
So it's always about trying to grow for me. So yeah, like coming back into it, in the middle of 2020, the middle of a pandemic, I grew my team. I brought on a buyer's agent.
Okay.
And
How many people you got right now?
so right now it's myself, Claudia, she's a buyer's agent with me. And then we have an ISA that just started on and is making sales calls.
So they work directly for you. They're employees, right?
Contractors.
Contractors. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So
I mean, you got a team at least, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's that like? Juggling people and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's good. It forces you to be better. It forces you to grow. If you can explain something to someone else, then you're going to understand it better. So it's really forced me to be a better agent.
Okay.
And there's challenges to it, for sure.
Nothing strange with the personalities or anything like that, or
No.
Or can you not say it on camera?
No,
okay.
we're good.
I just asked because a buddy of mine, he works down in Waco. He became a manager. This was a while back, but literally he said the first day on the job, he had an employee come into his office and say, "I'm being sexually harassed."
Oh wow.
That's literally the first thing he had to deal with the day he started. So
Yeah.
Yeah, people are strange. I mean, but nothing weird for you so far with employees. Okay.
Yeah, you got to be smart and careful about, it's like I guess I probably kind of muzzled down on, whatever, talking about politics and, it's just like certain things that you just don't need to go down those.
Do you guys have
roads.
any rules about all this stuff happening, like social, political stuff in the world? Like I know, my wife's company, she just, they have a whole like seminar on how to treat people now, what you can and can't say, how to use the restroom, like as detailed as that,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, we're not. There's no like corporate training.
Okay.
On my team, like
Nothing that big yet, huh?
yeah, like we're all pretty down to earth.
Okay.
And I think everybody gets it, and very personable, and just keep it clean. We're just about helping people,
Right.
buy and sell houses.
Right.
So it's just focus on that, and you'll be okay.
So I want to pick your brain. Like, any new things you're thinking about doing, or any opportunities you see for yourself, or how's the market going, all that stuff,
Yeah, market, and anybody that's tried to buy or sell in the last year will know that the market has been extremely competitive. We're getting multiple offers on almost every house you put out there.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Like how quickly? Like just right
well,
away? Or?
yeah, it just depends. Like if you're not getting offers the first couple of days, then you overpriced it, or you just did a really bad job of marketing the property. There's almost no way to not get offers in the market right now. You got a shortage of inventory from pre-owned homes, so we're down 50% from this time last year.
This is all of DFW?
Yeah, DFW as a whole.
Oh my
So
God, okay.
the whole Metroplex is down 50% roughly in inventory. So we've got half as many listings, and then you've got the interest rates lower.
All right.
So, more buyers have come into the market, and buyers have more buying power.
Right.
They can afford more home. So you've got all these buyers in the market, low inventory, and then new construction is behind. They've got lower inventory. Lumber prices are up, and so you've got all this like perfect storm of a shortage of supply and more demand.
Right.
And so, as a buyer, you have to be extremely aggressive. I've had people go 30, 40, 50K over and still not get a property.
Wow.
And
Because they're getting outbid.
they're getting outbid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And
is it everywhere in Dallas or just certain areas, you think?
I mean, it's mostly everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah. I haven't seen many spots or cities where, you can't sell a house like that. Like they're not getting multiple offers. It's pretty much everywhere.
So is there an influx of just agents coming in who want to be a part of this? Like who don't know what they're doing then?
I mean, I haven't noticed more
Okay.
of that. I think there's always this influx of agents. I think, HGTV, $1 Million Listing, all these shows, people see that glamorous lifestyle of like when you really put in the work and get to a certain level, it can be really fun.
Right.
To sell high-end properties. But again, a lot of people get in and then, they struggle and they end up, getting out. And so I would say it's probably similar to any time that I've seen.
Okay.
As far as new agents coming in.
What type of properties are you into right now? Are you on the higher end now, or? Because
Well,
I know
yeah.
you got closer to Frisco, where we're at, right?
Yeah, I've done some sales in Collin County. I sold a house in Allen, a couple months ago. My average price point is in like the mid 4s to 500 range. And
Nice.
so every year it grows a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's just with experience and homes get more expensive every year.
Right.
Appreciation keeps happening. So, first time home buyers, when I started out, I was working with people buying for 150. Now our first time home buyers are at 200, 250.
Can you help us stop that trend? Because I'm tired of paying the taxes on the houses.
Yeah. Taxes are just going to keep going up, man. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh well.
I'll put in a good word, but I don't think they're going to care.
So with inventory so low, how are you getting clients and selling? Like
Yeah.
how are they finding you, or are you reaching out to them still?
Well, there's a lot of activity, even though there's low inventory. There's, more buyers than sellers is what, are coming to me right now. I've gotten a lot of past clients hitting me up like, hey, we want to sell. We hear the market's crazy. So I'm getting business that way on the sales side. But, I generate leads on all different platforms.
Okay.
Social media. We did Zillow for a long time. I'm not doing it currently. But yeah, there's a lot of different avenues that, business comes in from.
Still cold calls and all that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, I'm generating probably, a couple hundred Facebook leads a month. And so.
Are you doing ads on Facebook or just posting regularly?
Yeah.
Okay.
All of that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Man. Well, so what else is going on with your life then? You got your business running, happily married, right? How long has it been now?
5 years.
5 years. Okay.
Yeah,
So
little
it's
bit
about
over.
as long as I've known you, right? So you got your business and family life is pretty good.
Yeah.
So what else is happening for you? I mean, anything else in your life that you're into nowadays, or?
Yeah. I think I mentioned before, but I've been, got really into hunting in the last 12 months.
What got you into that? Or?
Just a buddy of mine, that same guy that, had no water for 8 days down in Houston. He invited me duck hunting last season.
Okay.
And it was an awesome time.
Just
And
knew it was something you liked, huh?
yeah, like right off the bat, very first time I was hooked. And so I've been doing a lot of that. My brother is down in Austin, so we've linked up a bunch of times to hunt this year.
Okay.
And I just got back last weekend. I was in Arkansas hunting for geese.
Wow.
Conservation goose hunting, and we did pretty good. So
what about it makes it so appealing for you, think?
yeah, there's so much about it that I like. I think there's, obviously, there's like a primal connection to like hunting and what our ancestors did.
Right.
Getting your own food.
And you eat everything you kill, right?
Everything.
Okay, so
Yeah,
it's
I
not
try to-
not for sport necessarily.
No,
Okay.
no,
All right.
definitely not. So, yeah, the sustainability of getting my own food, being out in nature. I was in snowboarding for many years, and then when I moved out here, it just was like all business all the time. So that became something like a way for me to tap into my relationship with nature more.
Okay.
So really, like the best parts about it for me are even the down times in between, like when there's no animals and there's nothing happening.
Right.
And I'm just watching the sun come up, and it's quiet, and I'm hearing birds, making noise, animals around me.
Wow.
Like that's an amazing thing that I wouldn't be doing if I wasn't into hunting.
Right.
So
Do you think it was your sickness that helped facilitate that, or
yeah, that
made
was
you
part
want
of
to
it.
do that?
Yeah, that was part of
Just
it.
to get away from it.
Yeah, I was holed up in a dark room, watching
Right.
Netflix on painkillers for 6 months, just trying to not be in pain.
Right.
So when I started feeling better and I had an opportunity to get out and get some sun, and it was like I jumped on it, and I haven't looked back.
Were you in hunting ever before this?
No.
Or? Okay.
No, it's a whole new thing.
All right. So that's
Yeah.
your new identity now. Huh?
Yeah, that's part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. Just trying to spend time with my wife, spend time with my family as much as I can. Going out to California in a couple weeks to see my mom. Haven't seen her in over a year because of COVID.
Right.
So, just trying to stay connected with the people I love, and keep the business rolling, keep
Right.
growing, and be a good husband, and a good brother, a good son, and a good friend, and
Well, you're a good
all
friend because
Thanks,
came
man.
out and helped out with this.
yeah,
You know.
my pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you very much. This was awesome.
Of course. Yeah, happy to do it, man. Anytime.
Yeah. How'd you feel about the first podcast? Or-
Yeah, it was my first one too, so I think it went well.
All right. Well, have you
Yeah.
come back, and I think we'll wrap it up here. But thanks again.
Yeah,
This is awesome.
thanks, bro.
All right.